Welcome to Potty Mouths. This is Stephanie.
This is Bert.
This is Brad.
And on today's episode, we're going to talk about human experimentation, which was supposed to be last week, but I got in a funk. For those of you out there that don't have children and are thinking about it, you will never have a moment's peace. Fuck your hobbies. Just toss your shit in the garbage. You'll never have it. You're going to have to eat. If you want a snack, you're going to have to eat it in the bathroom with the fucking door locked.
How long does that last? Till about
19.
12?
Dude.
20.
The 17-year-old fucking barges in on us at least twice every time we record. He's 17.
True. But, yeah.
Until they move out, I guess. I mean, whatever age that is, the 18, 23.
Well, like, what's the age where you can take on, like, other hobbies that don't include, like, interrupting? Like, you could, like...
Retirement.
Cool.
Have them early or don't have them at all.
I had one early. And I had one late, and they're both equally fucking annoying, just in
What I
two
mean
different
is,
ways.
the earlier you have them, the earlier they move out. So.
I mean, that is true. And then you can fuck off and be with your own self and your own life and
Hey,
your own
Mom,
things.
can you send me some money? No, I'm sorry. We blew everything at the beach here in Maui. Can you believe how much a Mai Tai cost here? Love you. Have fun.
Yeah, that's because my kids aren't... I mean, like, if it's a legitimate situation, like, hey, Mom, car's broke, need some money for a battery... I'll pay you back when I get paid.
Oh, not like some of your family. Hey, Mom, third repo. I need a car. Just borrow
Oh,
this.
no. This is going to be in a situation where they don't ask me for money much, so I don't mind helping them out a little bit.
5 seconds till complete Stephanie meltdown.
Look, everybody needs to stop pissing me. So we had to scrap this episode and come up with some... It'll be posted Monday. So when this comes out, the episode before this... where I'm calling it utter chaos because I was in too bad a mood to talk about human experimentation because it's been raining for fucking 50 days and 50 nights here. It's like biblical fucking gray rain shit going on up in here. Everything is pissing me off. I'm in a mood and I'm so ready for winter to be over. And then everybody thinks it's funny to extra piss me off. I don't know why.
Not everybody thinks it's funny. Just a select fine few.
Like you.
Not mentioning any names. Not mentioning any names.
Anyway, I think, Brad, I know you're done.
Yeah.
I know you're fucking done.
Oh, I'm ready to move to Florida.
I don't understand
Florida?
why it keeps fucking raining.
I'm hoping, being that I'm in IT, I can work remote. So that is the plan. I mean, we got a guy fucking stationed in Louisiana working with us, so why can't I go to Florida?
Really?
Yeah,
why can't you go to Florida?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I can. I'm going to once I get my school loans paid off.
I mean, I'm a little upset that you're leaving.
Yeah, we can remote pod.
But I don't like to do that.
But I like sunshine, and I want it all year round.
Yeah, but then you get, like, hurricanes and shit.
That's true, but I'd rather deal with a hurricane for a week than this bullshit for 90 days.
So, about human experimentation, I was doing some research, and they didn't ban it until, like, 1975. Isn't that fucking crazy?
I would have said maybe, like, after World War II.
Are you ready for mustard gas experiments?
No.
Why?
Is it honey mustard?
No, it's not honey mustard. Although the best honey mustard out there is Ken's.
O'Charlie's.
Ken's and O'Charlie's. Anyway, so that
20 minutes and still not on topic, right?
Yeah, 10 minutes in.
10 minutes.
So mustard gas was a big fear in the U.S. Army. I guess they validated their experiments with mustard gas just based on the fact that, you know, if they knew what they were getting into, it'd be easier for them to handle. The gas is actually a sticky, oily resin that causes chemical burns on exposed skin and uncontrollable bleeding in the lungs when it's inhaled.
What's it made of?
It's not, I don't know. And even if I looked up the science behind it, I probably couldn't pronounce any of it.
I'm pretty sure it's chlorine gas.
It's just chlorine gas?
I'm pretty sure it's chlorine with something else. I'm pretty sure much of gas is
Well, Google that shit while I read. So they did a lot of it. They did a lot of experimentation on it in Panama in 1942. The purpose of the test was to work out how well mustard gas would work in tropical environments, such as islands American soldiers would be fighting across the Pacific. As many as 1,200 recruits tested in small teams for several weeks were ordered to strip to the waist outside of wooden chambers on base grounds. And then they would step inside and be dosed with the chemical agent. So they're like in shorts and shit, and they walk into this room, and then they throw this mustard gas shit on them.
I thought they had mustard gas in World War I.
They did.
What was the day?
Well, the whole reason why they tested on American soldiers was because they already knew about it. They just wanted to see if, under what conditions, it was going to work in that climate. So now we're in Panama and shit, and it's a tropical environment, and they're like, is it even going to work in this environment? And as it turns out, it works worse in the heat.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit of internet research. There's chlorine gas that was used in World War I, which is different than mustard gas.
Okay.
But still pretty bad stuff. Mustard gas, also known as sulfur mustard, is cytotoxic, which is a viscous chemical warfare agent. It has names such as mustard gas, synfrin gas, ypirite, distilled mustard. It gets its name mustard gas from the fact that it's considerable is inaccurate because the sulfur mustard is not actually vaporized, but dispersed as a fine mist or liquid droplets. Sulfur mustard was originally assigned the name Lost after scientists William Lamel and William Schnickhoff, who developed a method of large-scale production for the Imperial German Army in 1916. So mustard gas could have been used during World War I as well, so yeah, and chlorine gas. But it gets, when used in impure forms, such as warfare agents, they're usually yellow and brown, and have an odor resembling mustard plants, garlic, or horseradish, hence the name mustard gas. So.
Well, according to one survivor, all of the men began writhing around and screaming in pain as the chemical burned their skin. Some pounded on the walls and demanded to be let out through the doors, were locked, and only opened when the time was up. Though the men were treated immediately following the experiments, they were threatened with military prison if they ever disclosed what had happened to anyone, including their own doctors, later in life. When the story finally broke in 1993, now mind you, this is 1942, it didn't come out to 1993, more than 50 years after the tests, only a few survivors could be located for compensation. The Pentagon is still officially, quote-unquote, looking for test survivors, the youngest of whom would now be 93 years old.
Did they wait till 1993 for they didn't have to pay anybody?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. It's all about the money.
See, either...
Every bit of it.
This is what happens. Either they had always been getting heat about it, and then decided to wait until most of the survivors would probably be dead and then come out and admit what happened, or somebody found proof of what happened. It just took them that fucking long to get it.
The use of toxic gases or other chemicals, including the mustard agent during warfare, is known as chemical warfare. And this kind of warfare was prohibited by the Geneva Protocol of 1925 and also by the later Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993. So it was an international thing that happened that brought a lot of this to light.
Fuckers, they're going to keep that underground, too.
It's like Area 51.
Yeah.
The fact that the world is flat. Flat earthers, where are you?
And or shaped like a donut.
I just need to talk to some flat earthers.
So I think when everybody thinks about, like, human experimentation, they picture, like, a certain group of people. From my research, pretty much experimented on fucking everybody. Soldiers, mental patients, poor people, pretty much anybody.
The chlorine gas was originally used in World War I. It was later replaced by mustard gas because mustard gas was much more deadly. So we were both right. It was all World War I.
I don't know. Like, I kind of get, like, chemical warfare, but also, too, isn't blowing people up enough and shooting people.
Well, see, the idea about chemical warfare is you don't do any damage to the property.
Yeah.
You kill everybody and get their buildings.
And then that shit drifts.
Just like biological warfare. But the chemical warfare is cleaner for the fact that after a while it dissipates so everybody can come in and clean up.
Yeah, I guess I would prefer
For
chemical
biological,
to
somebody can still get sick and everything else. I mean, it's all bad shit. Blowing up, chemically burning.
How about everybody
people.
just not fucking wage war on people? That'd be great.
I heard the flat earthers are going to rise up.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus, sweet Bert, will you get off the flat earthers?
I don't think
They're
real.
a myth.
I believe that. They're going to rise up against the Bigfoots.
So here's the government at work. So when you have something that is even remotely effective and or costs and or make money, there's going to be a department in the government created for it. So, in as early as 1942, the War Department created the Biological Warfare Department, whose job was to just be fucking essentially paranoid that we were going to get hit with some fucking chemical shit.
It was the beginning of the Cold War and stuff too, right?
So, President Roosevelt created America's first Biological Warfare Bureau, officially study the country's vulnerabilities and devise appropriate responses should Japan, Germany, and or the Soviet Union ever get the idea to spray some germs around the U.S.
So World War II, and then it continued into the Cold War.
Well, how did they assess our vulnerabilities?
Test subjects.
Did any of them know what was going on?
No.
Why? Because it was the general fucking public. So, over a period lasting 20 years, from 1949 to 1969, well-intentioned officials. This article. I'm going to leave well-intentioned out. Officials working for the Department of Defense repeatedly doused whole cities across America with chemicals, bacteria, and fungal spores. So that they were pretty sure it was mostly harmless. Pretty sure it was mostly harmless.
This is where these people get, like, the chemtrails, the fucking planes fly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why people are paranoid as fuck about the government.
Because this shit has happened.
And not like, once. Like, for 20 fucking years, they were like, hey, Bob, you want to spray some motherfuckers with some deadly shit?
Yeah.
But mostly harmless? Yeah, so one of the earliest of more than 200 tests took place in September 1950 when the U.S. Navy ship near San Francisco hoisted a fire hose and sprayed tons of bacteria into a bank of fog that drifted over the city. Later, government officials checked in with the local hospitals to see how many people had been infected. Turns out to be thousands. And one of them may have died as a result, but the human experimentations kept going.
And we're supposed to be the good guys.
I know.
Just think about this. This time range from 49 to 69, this is our parents' time as children. So we were wondering what was wrong with our fucking parents.
Yeah, it all makes
sense. We know it was the government.
I mean, that explains your mom a little bit, but I still don't like her.
We gotta give her the benefit of the doubt now.
I mean, it kind of explains, too, why my dad's a little bit hippy-dippy, but, you know, he means well. He ain't gonna hurt nobody.
I think it really explains my dad.
So, to get more information about how biological attacks would spread, project planners dusted rural areas with potentially carcinogenic cadmium, including several schools in Minneapolis. Gotta get them schools in there, too, I guess.
And these are the same ones that regulate our kids' lunch.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, really.
Chicken nuggets are good for you. And here, have some irradiated cadmium, too.
So they went with the cover story that the military was experimenting with shrouding cities in smoke screens in case of a nuclear attack. In New York in 1966, agents threw light bulbs filled with bacteria into subway tracks to see if how far the whoosh of air would carry it.
The whoosh.
The whoosh.
The whoosh, that must be a technical term.
The whoosh.
The whoosh.
Look it up, bitch. See if it is a technical term, because it's literally, I found whoosh when referring to air movement in all of my research. Thank you very much.
Really?
Yes. So, the whoosh of air that trains would spread the contaminants. It turns out they dropped samples at 14th Street, and it made it as far as 59th Street Station.
It's pretty fucking far.
Yeah. The bacteria, a pathogen that caused food poisoning, also coats clothes, skin, and hair of subway passengers. So they took the shit home with them. None of the people who were exposed knew what was going on, and nobody was ever punished for these human experimentations. So, food poisoning. So, I would just like to point out that, first of all, like, I fucking fear the stomach bug and vomiting more than anything. That's, like, the worst day of my life for me, because I don't throw up a couple times. I heave my guts out every 20 minutes for 9 to 12 hours. In general, okay? So, they always put a warning on dehydration when it comes to the stomach bug and stuff like that it can really affect the young and the elderly. So, for Bert Math me, 14th Street to 59th.
40 streets?
So for 40 blocks, people were coated in fucking food poisoning and took it home to their
45th.
families,
45th.
including the elderly and the young.
45th Street. Yeah.
So some of these people could have potentially been hospitalized for severe dehydration from vomiting and diarrhea.
I just want everybody to know I am definitely concerned about your research. So, per Wikipedia, there's nothing for whoosh. But Urban Dictionary, whoosh. The sound something makes when passing by at moderate speed. To pass by an object at such a speed to make a whooshing sound. The handle of some British idiot with a penchant for various acts of dumbassery and creating some of the most harmonic spike comics ever to be made. Whoosh.
Whoosh is a technical term?
I'm afraid not, dear.
According to me.
Because according to good old Wikipedia, this page, whoosh, does not exist. You can ask for it to be created, but consider checking the search results below to see whether the topic is already covered. It's a hit and miss engine because it makes a pop, whoosh, 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 pop sound.
Now listen, when I do my research,
Or
some of it is... Will you fucking shut up? Some of it is copy and paste. I copy and pasted whoosh in an official document about human experimentation. It is a technical term.
The next thing that even remotely makes sense for all this is whoosh, as in Eli from Xena, Warrior Princess. The way devewhoosh.org. The way whoosh. The way of friendship to find whoosh.
Is that anything like, you guys ever watch, even though you can kind of hear it, do you still put your TV and shit on subtitles? We do, because with the kids and the cats, we can never hear what the fuck is being said.
So I have to read it. So it's like I'm reading the story.
Yeah.
So like, did you ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? You bet I did in subtitles.
Yeah. We listen and read in English subtitles because we can never hear our shit. So the first time I ever saw this fucking word was when we were watching an episode of The Walking Dead. When you stab a zombie in the head with a knife, it says squelch.
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 It's my favorite.
Totally off subject, but I just want the audience to know, if you guys really want to watch a great movie, find the Colin Farrell movie called The Lobster.
Oh my god.
Trust me.
I think everybody knows about The Lobster already.
If you don't know about it, watch it. Trust me.
Oh man.
Suckers.
Okay. So, experimentations in U.S. prison system.
Yep, experimentation can happen.
Yeah, but not everybody's in there for the bad.
You only do it to the bad then.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, this was San Quentin. So, from 1918 to 1922, inmates at California's San Quentin State Prison were subjected to numerous medical procedures, including receiving transplanted testicles from recently executed prisoners.
Wow.
So did they replace their current set, or did they just make them double?
I don't know. Did they saw them onto their fucking necks? I don't...
A Balchinian.
Balchinian! No, I don't know. It didn't say... I'm assuming they're chopping off old testicles and putting on dead ones.
What?
Frankenstein shit.
So during the research headed by Dr. Leo L. Stanley, for those of you who want to dig in the depths of this mind, many men received transplanted sex organs from rams, goats, and boars.
So did the testicles take? Or did they rot in his
I'm assuming, this is 1918 to 1922. Old and new balls rotted off. I can tell you that right now.
You think so?
And my thing, it says also transplanted sex organs. So that, to me, is a nice way of saying that dicks were involved here. He's like, let's take this goat dick and cut this man dick off, put this goat dick on this man and this man dick on this goat. That's where my mind goes with this. My question is, why?
It would look neat, I guess.
We put some white out on a bee, and it died.
Put some liquid paper on a bee, and it died.
Science!
Science!
That's why, Steph. Science!
I get that it would be, honestly, if I was a guy, and I lost my dick in war, I'd want a new one. I get that, okay?
No, you wouldn't. Not you.
Anyway. I mean, I think balls are honestly optional. But anyway.
Balls are optional. Okay.
Anyway. I get that, like, somebody would be like, oh man, what if some dude lost his wiener? And then we had to, like, give him a new one. I get that. But at what point would some guy be like, I don't care, give me a goat dick, I just need a dick.
Can you imagine that conversation? He comes home to his wife, hey honey, you want to be bad?
In which case, why wasn't it a horse dick?
No!
That's one divorced couple.
It's like, they don't have pants that size. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff, like, I kind of get some experimentation, like vaccines and shit. This is just ridiculous.
Well, some people are all about not the vaccines.
That's true.
So,
tuberculosis treatments were also tested on prisoners in exchange for clemency. And 400 inmates of Stateville Correctional Center in Illinois were exposed to malaria in the hope of finding a cure. And these experiments did not end. Pharmaceutical research in prisons did not end until 1970s.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to test some shit out, you might as well. Like,
I mean, it says, in exchange for clemency.
oh, so they're volunteering then.
I mean, I can kind of get that. But, I mean, malaria, man, how bad do you hate being in prison?
if I
You know what I'm
was
saying?
locked up the rest of my life, I'd be down with being killed. So,
Or getting malaria living for a little bit.
sitting in a fucking, 8x4 for
Or the hope that they
30 years.
find a cure. I don't know. In Willowbrook and the Willowbrook and Tuskegee experiments from 1956 to 1970. This pisses me off so bad. Mentally retarded children held at Willowbrook State School in Staten Island, New York, were infected with hepatitis so the doctors could track the spread of the viral infection and how it responded to gamma globulin injections. More than 700 children were infected. The school was closed in 1987 after public outcry about overcrowding and the filthy conditions.
Wait a minute. I think I heard a little bit about this.
So from what that says to me is for 17 years, they dosed mentally retarded children, 700 or more, with hepatitis, tested on them, and then also kept them in shitty conditions. It took 17 years for people to complain about this.
What years was it from?
It was, so it ended in 1970, and the school was not shut down till 1987.
So, I knew about this, and I heard this about somebody's biography. So you want to know who the driving person was to get that school shut down.
Who?
Geraldo Rivera.
No shit.
So Rivera was hired by WABC TV in 1970 as a reporter for Eyewitness
That's
News.
right, he went inside
In
and recorded the
1972,
conditions.
he garnered national attention and won the Peabody Award for his report on the neglect and abuse of patients with intellectual disabilities at Staten Island's Willowbrook State School. This is what got him nationally famous.
I like how they offer clemency to 400 prisoners for malaria, but they just essentially fucking kill 700 mentally retarded. And then, like, I'm sorry, but state prisons have, like, keeping shit clean, toilets, and all that other stuff. These kids were essentially, if I remember the Geraldo stuff, were living in their own shit and filth.
Yeah, it was some bad stuff. It was really bad. And really, that started bringing down the demise of, like, insane asylums.
Yeah.
Because they were really popular to that time, but the people realized the horrible conditions, and that's when they thought, well, maybe we need to give these people help. And that started. Or people are just, let's just abort them before they're a problem, to the podcast that was before this one posted. I mean, that's the solution. You just eliminate the problem before it's a problem. So
I don't know. It's just fucking horrible. And you cannot make the argument. Like, if a kid bites you, he knows what's going on. That kid knows you're dangerous. That kid is living in fucking filth, and they don't like it. You're just making that mental... whatever was wrong with autistic, whatever was wrong with them. You're just making it fucking worse, and then you infect them with a fucking virus? How about we inject them with shit and see if we can't get their mental illness better? Like, where was the production of Adderall in the 1970s in mental institutions for children?
Did they not have that yet?
No. I don't even think they gave a fuck about it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they knew much about mental disease and all that shit.
you still don't know much about it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And which is fucking
still
sad.
learning.
But now it's more like in the
Prominent.
public eye, people talk about it. Before, just Man the
Before
fuck
it was
up.
socially acceptable to treat anybody that was different like a piece of fucking trash.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, especially when it comes to fucking kids. I mean, how about rapists and fucking child molesters? Why aren't they with fucking malaria and fucking hepatitis?
They should just be shot with a fucking 25-cent fucking shotgun shell, but whatever.
I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree with you there, Brad.
Some people do because it's not happening anymore.
So, beginning in 1932, the Tuskegee experiment. Why do I have a problem? Tuskegee. Is it just my mouth or is it the word?
It's your mouth.
The Tuskegee experiment was a 40-year clinical research study carried out by the Public Health Service at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. Nearly 400 of the 600 poor rural... That word I have problems with constantly.
I said it fine that time.
Did I? Rural...
Nope, gone.
Ah, shit! Sharecroppers who took part were never told that they had syphilis or treated for it. Instead, they were given quote-unquote free health care, meals, and burial money as researchers studied how untreated syphilis progressed. So they just took these poor people, and they were like, it's free health care. They infected them with syphilis, and then watched they weren't even trying to fucking cure it. They weren't trying to treat it. They just watched the untreated progression of syphilis on some fucking rural-ass poor family.
So, I have a problem with this big time. So Tuskegee, if anybody rings a bell, you remember hearing about the Tuskegee Airmen. Mm-hmm. The Tuskegee University, who did this experiment, is a black university. These sharecroppers were more likely black.
Yes.
So, here's a group of people, and what was the time frame on this? 40 years?
This was a 40-year experiment starting in 1932.
So, from 32 to 72, 40 years, through the Civil Rights Movement, you have black Americans experimenting on lower-class black Americans. Where was their civil rights in all of this? Were they even considered at this time?
No.
This is stuff you don't hear about in the media.
Absolutely
This is
not.
just as terrible as all the other stuff that happened. This is sickening stuff. And at the time, I know it was, I guess, acceptable.
No.
No. These people back then, experimenting on anybody lower to them was acceptable. So this was fine. But I know right now that the original founder, UC, can't remember his name, he owns slaves. He has one of the halls named after him. They want to rename the hall because he owned slaves. Because he experimented, because he was a doctor, I believe, on slaves. A black college experimented on sharecroppers that were black. They're just as bad as what that gentleman would have been for what they were doing. It's disgusting, but we don't hear about these things, and that really concerns me because certain secrets people hide from one another. Like all the experimentation we're talking about is absolutely horrible. We're getting ready to get some really bad stuff, and like the military doing stuff to soldiers and doing it in public like they did. All this is absolutely terrible.
The mentally retarded children.
The mentally retarded children there in New York. But we don't hear these stories. You know, we talk about and we hear about all this other dumb crap about like how I don't know, like immigrants, how illegal aliens can come over here and they're just people and everything else. Yeah, I agree, they're just people. But what's more barbaric? Us saying, no, you have to come here legally, or 50 years ago we experimented on people and didn't tell them about it. Mm-hmm. I have serious problems because this is stuff that's all covered up. In like 100 years, this is going to be the top story. This stuff's going to come in like, holy crap, were we barbarians? We look now back at ancient times with like the Romans and we can't believe they used to sacrifice themselves to fight lions and prisoners and everything else. They were monsters. Look at us, not even half a century ago.
I mean, we progressed quickly, but we were savage fucking people 50 fucking years ago.
And it's not like races against other races and religion. I mean, some of that's going to come up, but this is a race.
This is people who can afford shit experimenting on people who can't afford shit. That is what the fuck this is.
So I mean, race is out of the question. Everything here, it was just like, I'm better than you, so I'm going to experiment on you.
This is when you talk about what do they call it when like a certain amount of like they expect to lose a certain amount of soldiers in war. What is that? Casualties of war.
Casualties of war. Okay. Yep. And then the innocent people that die are collateral damage.
What is that? What is that also called?
Well, when civilians, it's collateral damage.
Collateral damage. Okay, so back then, if you couldn't afford shit, you were collateral damage.
Yeah, I feel like it's crap. But we don't hear about all this. We always hear about all the good things the government did. I hear a lot of the bad stuff, too. Here's a prestigious university that did this, and it was, like I said, a little over a half a century ago. Those poor people.
It wasn't even for experimental vaccinations. They just so question. Why couldn't it have been 10 people? Why did it have to be 400 out of 600?
Higher numbers show a more realistic.
Well, syphilis is.
It shows a more realistic statistical.
It's contagious. You infect 10 men, they're taking it home to their wives.
I get it, but the idea is the larger the number, the more statistical.
Well, I think statistics are fucking wrong anyway.
Well, whatever. The idea is it's supposed to be more valuable. It's supposed to be more realistic. So.
But besides violating the ethical rules of consent, the study was unnecessary because in 1947, penicillin was found to be an adequate treatment for the disease.
Oh, penicillin. What would we do with that?
So they knew what was going to cure it, but they wanted to see what would happen start to finish on 400.
And the funny thing is, this experiment...
I'm sorry, that's some sick fucking Auschwitz fucking Nazi shit.
Yeah, this experiment was completely collaborated with the United States government, too.
Yeah,
so
that's
once again, the government...
Shit.
Yeah, people don't do shit unless there's, money involved or you pay the motherfucker, so...
I don't know. I sometimes, I get that. I totally get greed. Greed is something I can understand. What upsets me the most is the sick fuck that thought that, one, that was necessary. Two, that it was necessary in considering the fact that they already had treatment for it. And three, convinced a group of other fucking seemingly rational people that they should do that. That sick motherfucker that had just... wanted to see 400 people die of fucking disease. That is sick, that is not greed, and that I don't fucking understand, because that's what comes up fucking slaughters you in your sleep, man. Like, I know politicians are greedy. I fucking know our government can give a fuck about the United States and American fucking citizens. I get that. But creepy fucks that just want to infect 400 people with syphilis and then watch them die? That's fucked up shit. There's something wrong there. And
seriously wrong.
And that guy probably had a fucking degree.
What do you mean?
That was probably a doctor that suggested that experiment.
Oh yeah, there was a series of doctors and politicians. It's sickening. It's disgusting. And just the fact that a university that held as being a traditional black university was willing to do that to black citizens in the area. I mean...
Anyway.
I don't know. It just makes it seem like it's... I don't know. It just doesn't... I mean, it's wrong no matter what the race and everything. The whole idea was wrong. But just really makes you wonder what the hell people were thinking.
I swear to God, I think fucking cancer is like an experiment.
I mean, you never really heard about it from like back in the 1800s.
I think that's why carcinogens are in almost everything they use.
It's like all the plastics and shit.
Everything that we fucking use.
Yeah.
And I think that, well, one, it makes money. This is a double whammy.
Oh, yeah.
One, it's population control, and two, it makes fucking money.
Yeah, that's a big industry, They'll never fucking cure that.
No, never. And they're like, oh, they're going to come out with a cure for... Yeah, and then there'll be new fucking cancer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cancer is a money-making opportunity.
Yep.
You will always make money treating cancer. You will not make money curing cancer. And that's why I have a problem with everybody's like, oh, the cancer research. The research what? New cancers?
Yeah, really.
I mean, yeah, I want a cure. Don't get me wrong. I definitely want that. But there's no money to be made there. And if somebody does find a way to do it, before they can get it out there, the pharmaceutical companies are going to come in and be like, nope, we own the rights to that. Look at the EpiPen. That was just for people who could get allergic reactions, right? The peanuts and that sort of thing. The cost of that has, 100 times what it used to be?
There was one
They want to make it profitable.
I don't remember his name.
Man.
One cocksucker raised the amount of the EpiPen by 100%. How is that even fucking legal?
So
I know.
It wasn't a dude. It was a lady. and her dad is the senator, Mackin in West Virginia, or Manchin. The Democratic senator in West Virginia. It's her dad, so it's his daughter. She's the CEO of this company, and she's the one that raised the price of the EpiPen. And everybody's like, oh, you don't have to have the pen. You can use a needle and everything. And it's
but Narcan's free.
But here's the thing with the EpiPen. They're not selling the medicine for that price. They're selling the delivery system. You can still buy Epi, whatever the heck it is, the actual thing, in a vial.
Epinephrine?
Yes, with the syringe. And that's like $20. But the idea is, you have to make sure you don't get air bubbles in the syringe. You got to make sure you do the proper dosing.
And you're having a fucking reaction. If you're by yourself, you can't deliver a proper fucking dose.
So being able to administer the epinephrine is the key point, and that's the part that you're charging for, is the delivery method. with the EpiPen.
Like they're not making enough off an $800 aspirin at the hospital.
Well, see, that's all insurance money there. That's not to the...
Yeah, but I feel like the reason why they try and make so much fucking money is because of the medical insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Those fuckers are probably the most
I remember
corrupt
being a kid when my dad first got medical insurance. It was like $20 a week for all 5 of us at the time. If you try to find insurance for $20 a day,
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I mean, we pay a couple $100 every 2 weeks.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. And our coverage sucks.
I pay
Dick.
$60 for myself every 2 weeks, and the company pays like $200. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying anything about the companies. They're trying. It's the insurance companies.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I get
It's
why
not the
people...
companies you work for. Everybody's trying, but it's
I get
ridiculous.
why people are for free health care, but that doesn't fix anything. As a matter of fact,
Causes a new problem.
you're just paying more in taxes for less health care because everybody's going to be in the ER. I hear people in fucking Canada, they have to wait for an ER visit for like 6 hours plus. Sometimes they get sent home and told to come back the next fucking day.
So you're not going to hear this from the politicians or
No.
the people or anything else. But I'm going to tell you, this is how you fix healthcare. You get rid of the waste at the hospitals. You get rid of the waste at the doctor's offices. You tell me those 5 nurses you see sitting behind the counter talking and gossiping and everything else really need to be all 5 there at the same time. So that's the first start. Then the $800 aspirins so the insurance company can get a kickback. How about the fact that they're paying like $50 for a specific type of latex glove where there's a generic brand that does the exact same thing for a third the price? I mean, there is so much waste in the healthcare industry. You want to make healthcare affordable? You tell them eliminate some of that waste and that horrible spending they do, and then you'll see the prices can drop because they'll be like, hey, we can operate with a profit. Right now, they're guaranteed to operate with a profit because people are going to pay whatever it takes for them to stay alive or their spouse to stay alive or for their family to stay alive. They will pay whatever cost.
Brad, you were going to say something.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, when I blew my knee out, they gave me fucking a change of socks, and then it was like $60 fucking dollars.
Now, when I broke my wrist, they suggested I get a sling for it. $195.
You can buy that shit at CVS.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize it was going to be like, oh, okay, complimentary. No, not complimentary. Well, when you had our youngest, they're like, don't bring anything. Okay? They give you the diaper bag. They give you a set of diapers. They give you formula. It's all 20 times the price if you just would have brought it yourself from Walmart.
Everything.
So it's like, you know what? You guys are just cash cows. You're just trying to get the money out.
Also, let's look at this too because
It's a fucking shame.
there's so many systems here that are broken because it costs like $10,000 to have a baby. They keep you in the hospital for 24 fucking hours and that's it.
For observation.
For observation. They require observation. And they come in the room every 10 fucking seconds to check your blood pressure and the baby's blood pressure. And then after 24 hours, check your kid for jaundice.
So my insurance right now is set up.
Okay, it was $9,000 in 2001. It's probably like $16,000 to $20,000 to have a kid now.
So
that's just that one 24-hour visit. That's not your prenatal care that was required by state. And it's none of that shit. Just 24 fucking hours in the hospital to squirt out a baby.
How are all these fucking teenagers having all these kids?
Well,
then?
that's another
That's what
thing.
the government
That's
picks up the
welfare.
bill.
That's you pay not a dime out of your pocket to have a kid if you have fucking Medicare, Medicaid, or in the state of Kentucky, it's WellCare.
So the way it's set up, so my insurance is set up. If I go once a year for my annual health checkup, it's free and clear. Doctor's
Same
like,
thing
oh,
for kids.
it's like doctor's like, oh, well, I need to do these tests. Well, those tests aren't part of your checkup.
Yeah.
$85 for 3 blood draws for 4 tests ran. Just so I can get a call the next day. We want to run tests again in 30 days. This is where they get you. I know why healthcare is the price it is, other than the waste and everything else. It used to be there weren't doctor's offices. You had a hospital, and then if you got sick, you called a doctor, and they came to your house. They didn't have the overhead of having to have a building, having multiple secretaries, having dozens of nurses to run around and gossip and do, 20% work. And I'm not saying nurses don't work. There are places where they are way overstaffed on nursing just because the money is there to have them overstaffed.
And you still sit in the waiting room for an hour, and then in the room waiting for the doctor for an hour.
Yeah.
20 fucking nurses, one doctor in that goddamn building.
And like I said, I'm not trying to diss nurses here. That's not my intent. But the fact that there are so many for a building with just a few doctors, and there's levels of nurses. You have the LPNs, you have the registered nurses, you have the nurse practitioners. It's like there's all these different levels. So we added all this complexity. We've just overcomplicated it, and they charge so much to pay this overhead and the insurance and everything else. Because they have to have malpractice insurance in case they goof up. They don't want to lose their livelihood. So that is why healthcare is so expensive. And I don't know how we got in the price of healthcare. We're talking about human experimentation.
Anyway, we can take care
of it. But I'm
of
just saying, get rid of the inefficiencies, get rid of the waste. You can see healthcare go down. Government doesn't have to fix it. The individual places can do it.
So the Public Health Service also carried out similar experiments in Guatemala where nearly 700 men and women in institutions and prisons were unknowingly infected with syphilis and gonorrhea. So let's move off something so we don't rant about the fucking healthcare system.
I'm all about it now.
Let's get to something that Brad mentioned to me a long time ago. And at first I thought he was talking about the movie Dead Snow. Turns out, Brad, have you seen it yet?
Not yet.
Brad has never seen Dead Snow.
Oh, so good.
So Brad was talking about Nazis creating zombies. And I looked it up, and it's actually the Nazis performed human experimentations on people to try and create fucking zombies.
Yeah, I'd say the Nazis did it all, man. Whatever they could think of.
If you can think of the most evil shit people have done to people, they covered it, man. In a short period of time, they fucking covered it all, man.
They probably did everything they could think of.
The first category was the survival test. This is how Nazis tried to create zombies. The idea was to determine the human survival threshold for Nazi soldiers. One example, because if you were going to create a zombie that you thought you could control, it had to be another Nazi. One example was an experiment to determine the altitude by which Air Force crews could safely parachute. Prisoners were placed in low-pressure chambers to reciprocate thin atmosphere of flight and observe to see when the organs began to fail. And also at what temperature the human body would begin to fail in the case of hypothermia, and also to try and resuscitate the near frozen human body. The body temperature probe was inserted into the rectum of the prisoners, who were then frozen in a variety of manners, being submerged naked in ice-cold water. And it was established that consciousness was lost, followed by death, when the body temperature reached 77 degrees Fahrenheit. That's when your body dies. It's too fucking cold. Bodies of the nearly frozen people were then brought back up to temperature through a variety of similarly unpleasant manners, such as immersion in near boiling water. Himmler himself suggested the most bizarre but least cruel method of reviving a hypothermic by obliging him to have sex in a warm bed with multiple ladies. I mean, this was actually practiced and seemed to work at least better than the other methods. But the very idea that experiments were undertaken to kill or almost kill humans through freezing, and then determine how best to resuscitate them, bring them back to life, was not that far a leap from trying to clinically reanimate a dead body. Also, today, this is fucking interesting as shit. Whenever you take, like, first aid or whatever, and you've fallen into some ice or cold water, or you're getting hypothermia, the reason why they suggest that you take all of your wet, cold clothes off and huddle with somebody else is because of this experimentation. So it helped improve our first aid. Because you have to slowly warm the body back up. You cannot jumpstart it back up because that can force you into a heart attack.
Put you in the shock. Mm-hmm. You know, the Nazis did some cruel, horrible things, but a lot of what they did is actually what put us to where we are in our modern medicine and everything
weird,
else.
Though.
Another horrible set of experiments were done by the Japanese during the same time frame. The Japanese were experimenting on POWs all the time. And there was one documentary I watched where they were trying to invent a ray gun.
Oh, ray gun.
No joke. And it
right, but when you say it like
I
that.
know. But back then, that was like the ultimate weapon of all time. Somebody say ray gun. I'm like, what do you mean rays? Like gamma rays? I mean, that was science talk back then. And there was a ledger they found at one of these prison camps or whatever, where how many monkeys they roasted with the ray gun or whatever. Well, they don't really think it was monkeys. They think it was prisoners of war.
Right. Because you're not going to put in your documentation that I fried a little Jewish boy today.
Well, with the Japanese, it would have been anybody Chinese, or anybody from the Indonesian islands, or possibly British.
I feel like they
Australian.
were better at covering their bullshit up.
Still, it's absolutely terrible stuff. It happened, and I hate to say it, but we learned a lot from these.
Yeah, but we don't
things.
have to credit them at all. We would have figured it out eventually.
But there's like these purists out there be like, I ain't gonna do anything that's ever had to cause harm to somebody. I'm like, well, you'd probably be dead right now then, because
think about the needles themselves for inoculations and shit. Mm-hmm. That used to hurt like a motherfucker. Back in the day, those needles were fucking huge. And now I get to tell my fucking kids, it's just a little pinch, it'll be over like that. But that's kind of creepy. Can you, okay, first of all, Brad, you have to watch Dead Snow.
Yeah.
You fucking need to. I mean, of all the Nazi zombie movies, have you ever noticed that people love to put Nazis and zombies together?
Well, everybody can hate Nazis. So Nazis can be hated, and nobody will say, hey, it's not fair that you hate Nazis. No one's going to care.
Probably one of my most favorite badass survival scenes comes from the movie Dead Snow.
Guy sews himself up.
And then duct tapes his fucking slashed ass neck. It's brutal, but it's so good. And then like all the zombies are in these, when they're Nazis, they're in Nazi uniforms, right? They're zombies, but they're back. But they can think, too. But they're all in their bland uniforms, and there's all this fucking snow and shit, and everything's all bland and white and black and everything. And then so when shit happens and there's blood spray, it's actually quite fucking gorgeous. I hate to say it. It's a beautiful, deadly movie.
So Stephanie thinks pools of blood and snow is gorgeous. I'm glad winter is almost over.
Prove me wrong. It is too. Oh, and also one of the things that I appreciate in this particular movie, because people do horror movies in the winter wrong. Blood is hot, and outside is cold, and snow is cold. So when hot blood hits cold snow or cold air, it creates, steam. They made the steam in this movie.
No, really.
Even steam from somebody going to the bathroom. I really appreciated the cold temperature reality of this movie. Because, I hate when blood hits snow and it doesn't steam. It just pisses me off. It really does.
Such a realist.
But I mean, if your job is blood, you should think about that. Just boil that fucking Caro syrup and then throw it in the snow, man. Bring a hot plate on set with you. It'll make for good fucking movies. That's all I'm saying. Heat that shit up. Shit's almost 100 degrees. Heat that shit.
It's in the high 90s.
And plus adrenaline and stuff, that shit's cooking through your veins, man. So if you've seen Dead Snow, comment on our websites, which we have many, and fucking bitch at Brad for not watching Dead Snow. There's a few things that I told Brad that he needs to fucking watch. He's just fucking ignoring me.
Where's is it on Voot, or where the fuck?
It was on Netflix for a while.
It doesn't matter. You have access to everything on the planet.
Oh, not really.
I will find it for you.
I've got Amazon Prime, that's it.
Your birthday is next month. I will buy you Dead Snow.
Nah, I mean, I'll find it. Just let me know where it's at.
I will let you know where it's at.
I think you can rent it on Amazon. I think it's $2.99 a rental.
Anyway, and also, if you haven't seen Dead Snow, and you like zombies, and you like to watch Nazis die, it's a great film. And they have steamy blood in the snow.
I remember enjoying the Kill Bill scene with, I think there was snow coming down and
all the fight out in the back with all
the
that was gorgeous.
Yeah, man. I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, that red blood really pops,
right?
On that white. So yeah,
it's gorgeous. You can say that. It's fucking gorgeous.
While you're saying that, I got a jug of fake blood in my basement. I was gonna dump out on the snow if it snowed anymore this year.
So my sister and I, we actually went out. Well, there was a couple of incidents with snowmen. We went out and we made these snow people, and we put them we put their faces they were looking up, screaming, and arms and stuff, and then we put butter knives in them and squirted fucking fake blood all over them. It was great.
Yeah.
And then one time we made anatomically correct snowman, and our mom kicked the dick off our snowman. She comes home from work, she's like, really? And she kicks the dick off the snowman. It's great. But even though winter brings me some joy, November December, maybe even into January, I can tolerate it. But we're not getting snow. We're getting like fucking 4 inches of rain a day in this gray ass, and it's just cold enough to be inconvenient, but not cold enough to snow. And winter needs to die.
Winter does need to die.
I'm ready for spring.
Him as well.
Yep, you can rent it for $2.99 on Amazon. The sequel's up for free, actually, on Amazon.
I have not watched the sequel yet.
Yeah, we did. We didn't like it.
We did?
Red vs. Dead. It had the Russians.
Oh,
Zombies
yeah,
too.
no, it's crap. It's total crap. The second one's crap. Like, the first one's, like, it's
not great.
It's not great, but it's good, not great. It's not crap.
It's not like Happy Death Day to you.
I haven't seen the second one.
Or the first one.
Yeah.
I watched the first one yesterday.
I went last night. It was fucking awful.
Was it?
That bad, huh?
Yeah.
I don't understand how you do a sequel on that movie.
I've never even seen the first one.
Brad, I watched it on your Vudu.
So it is on there.
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh, man. Guess I own it. So I should probably check that out.
So was that a 30-beer night when you bought that movie?
I don't even know how I got that one.
Yeah, I watched it on your Vudu yesterday.
There's all kinds of people that add to that fucking Vudu, so I don't...
That's pretty sweet, though.
Yeah, I mean...
I got a Vudu bag. You got movies, just add and watch whatever you want. That's pretty
like,
yeah, I just send pictures of our DVD codes to Brad.
Yeah, it's like, here, fucking add movies when you can, and we'll just have shit tons of movies, so...
Yeah, it is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I watched that and Wolf, and I was getting ready to watch An American Werewolf in London.
Did you watch Bohemian Rhapsody?
I have not watched it yet. I wanted to do it when the kids were home.
I watched that Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper movie, A Star
I was born.
That fucking shit was good.
See, I want to watch that. This is a problem with cats and kids. Again, my youngest only goes to half-day kindergarten. I have 3 hours to myself a day. Mm-hmm. And in those 3 hours, I have to work in running errands, going to the grocery store, cleaning up, and going to the gym. So I can only watch something without the kids to bug the fuck out of me on days that I decide to take those things off.
Yeah, well, if you ever get around to it, check it out. It's pretty good.
I mean, we will eventually. I'm thinking about getting a babysitter just so I can watch all the movies I need to catch up on.
Bert needs to watch Deadpool, too, as well.
Yeah, he does.
I do.
But also, too, Bert and I fall into this weird category where we get obsessed with watching, like, just certain things. Mm-hmm. So, the only reason I watched something else yesterday was because I realized just how long we had only been watching YouTube and Twitch. So what we do is we watch our video game people on YouTube and our video game people on Twitch, and that's fucking it. We haven't seen a commercial. We haven't watched a movie. We haven't watched an episode of a TV show. Nothing. Everything is either Resident Evil 2, Metro Exodus, Dead by Daylight,
That's right.
and that's it. That's it. Watching our 4 favorite people play fucking video games, and that's it. I have seen the playthrough on Claire A and B and Leon A and B about a dozen fucking times by 4 different people.
Yeah, I'll fall in that YouTube wormhole sometimes, but it's usually reptile videos, like hours and hours.
Well, I've been on my phone a lot lately. Normally I'm not, but I have been on my fucking phone. Like, what'll happen is I'll see a video of animals doing cute shit on Facebook, and then I'll just keep scrolling through all those fucking videos, and then I don't even remember what original video I started watching on Facebook, and then I'm just giggling by myself in the dark, and Bert's like, what are you watching? My cat's being funny.
Yeah, so I got YouTube on my fucking TV now, so I just pop it up there. And,
Oh, yeah. I actually watched YouTube while I was walking the indoor track at the gym today. And then I got on the bike and I watched more YouTube, catching up on the YouTube videos I missed. My makeup videos, because I have been watching my video game videos. And then on top of that, we'd like go from watching a Metro Exodus video on YouTube to watching one of our Twitch streamers stream it on Twitch.
There's a lot of fucking content out there. It's hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah, but I mean also, too, like, there's a mood for everything. Because I do something and then I realize I need to step away from it. I'm about to the point where I can step away from the video games, but I'll get in moods. So I'll want to watch only like creature features. And then sometimes I just want to watch slashers. And then other times I want to just watch comedies. And then I just do it to death and then I move on. just get in weird moods.
Yeah.
Right now, because it's still all cold and gray out, it's like fucking October, so I've just been watching the video game stuff and creature features. That's all I've been watching. But anyway, if you want to talk about movies, since we can't shut up about them, or you want to talk about human experimentation. Now, one experiment I didn't bring up, because it kind of deserves its own fucking episode, is the Russian sleep experiment. Ha! It's a whole fucking episode. A whole long fucking episode. So if you'd like to hear us do the Russian sleep experiment, you can message us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at mouthspotty. Or you can email us at pottymouths@gmail.com. And, yeah. What other sick human experimentation shit have you heard of that we missed? Even though I think we covered the bases. I mean, there's a lot out there, unfortunately. But
there is.
In the future, we probably will have to do a Russian sleep experiment episode. But you can find all of our episodes on Podbean and the Podbean app, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, and now iHeartRadio. Which I've been actually listening to podcasts on iHeartRadio lately.
Is it like an app?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can go to...
It's like Pandora. But
yeah,
I mean,
it's exactly like Pandora.
I
Apple
prefer
Pod.
iHeartRadio. It works awesome for me. So.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I've been... Most everything, I like how it plays, but I think probably my favorites are Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, that's what I use.
iHeart, and actually, I really enjoy the play on the Podbean app. Check us out on iHeart if you're an iHeart fan. But at this point, I mean, pretty much on whatever platform you want to listen to podcasts on, we're there.
Yeah, I think we have it all covered.
Yeah, so, yeah. Message us, hit us up, listen to our episodes. And this is Stephanie.
This is Bert signing out from Potty Mouths.
This is Brad.
And good night, everybody.
Night.